Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a look at the September Monthly Awareness Polish Box. This month, 10% of all proceeds will be donated towards ovarian cancer. I will link the organization down below. If you're interested, you can just pick up one of these polishes or the entire box. I'll link the storefront where they are available starting today. I did purchase this box with a blogger's discount, and I'll go ahead and get right into it. I will list all 6 of the makers' social media as well as storefronts down below as well. So first up is Subtle as a Whisper, and this is coming from Night Owl Lacquer. This polish is described as a white polish with blue to purple shifting shimmer and galaxy holographic micro glitter. So very bright on the nail, super shimmery. It does have a very strong shimmer that translates well to the nail. So I'll go ahead and show you a quick brush shot, and then I'll show you how Subtle as a Whisper swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is a little bit on the thicker side and does remind me a bit of a Crelly formula. It did go on pretty nice for this first coat, but fairly sheer. So I'll go ahead and build this up, let it dry, and then show you how it builds up with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I am going in a little bit thicker with this polish, giving it time to dry in between. 2 coats brings this one really close to being completely opaque. It does make for a beautiful, nice, clean finish. I did still have a little bit of nail line, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with a third coat. So here's a look at my third and final coat. I did just go in for a nice and normal coat, and this did bring this one completely opaque for me. I did notice that it did dry down a little bit dull, so I definitely do recommend a nice glossy top coat to help bring out all of that shimmer and holographic glitter. Here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Here's a quick view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. And this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is For Annette, and this is coming from Dainty Digits Polish. This polish has a very special meaning. It was made in honor of Annette Boyce, who sadly did pass away from ovarian cancer in 2011. This polish is described as a turquoise Crelly base with snow white flakies, matte turquoise squares, shifting rainbow hex, and various iridescent glitters. So there's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how For Annette swatched on my natural nail. This one is for sure a jelly polish, so you do want to make sure that you give it a nice shake. It is a little bit sheer here in the base. So this first coat, I got a good amount of glitters here. It's still quite sheer. I'll let that dry, shake my bottle, and then show you how it applies with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I was able to get a little more of those larger glitters, which is definitely going to help bump up that opacity. So 2 coats makes for a really cool finish. Still a lot of nail line going on for me, so I'll go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it builds up for me in a third coat. So here's a look at that third coat, and this does bring it right to the edge of being completely opaque. I really love how those larger iridescent glitters kind of sit in this beautiful teal base. It definitely gives me like mermaid vibes, and I love it. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Those larger glitters are going to make a little bit of texture, so I definitely do recommend a nice glossy or even matte top coat. Here's a view from another angle and kind of overcast lighting. The sun did peek out just a little bit for me, so here's a look at that final swatch photo at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is Keep Calm and Wear Teal, and this is coming from Supernatural Lacquer. This polish is described as a neon teal base with a white, purple, and blue flakies, as well as purple to blue ultra chrome chameleon flakies and purple to blue shimmer. So very gorgeous, very bright on the nail. I'll go ahead and show you a quick brush shot, and then I'll show you how Keep Calm and Wear Teal swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at this first easy coat. This one did go on super smooth, even though it does have a ton of those flakies. It's those nice flakies that lay nice and flush. One coat, I did have to build up a little bit. It was a little bit sheer towards the tips. You could go in as thick or thin as you wanted to, but I really like the coverage here at one thicker coat. So I'll go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it builds up for me with a second coat. I'm just going in for a nice normal second coat here, and it did bring this one completely opaque. If you feel like you prefer going in thinner, you may need 3, but I was really happy with the coverage here. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Those flakes just glow off the nail. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. This is going to be another one that's going to look gorgeous with a matte top coat as well. This is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Help the Hoo-Haws, and this is coming from Sassy Pants Polished. This polish is described as a royal blue scattered holographic polish with turquoise shimmer and holographic flakies. So a lot of holographic elements going on in there, really pretty in the bottle. That's exactly what it looks like on the nail as well. I'll go ahead and show you a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Help the Hoo-Haws swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one does start out pretty sheer. It did go on nice and smooth, no issues with application at all, just a little bit sheer. I did have have a good amount of nail line going on. I'll go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I did go in a little bit thicker here. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more on the sheer side, but 2 coats to build this one up completely and perfectly opaque, no issues. Those glitters did dry a little bit textured for some reason, so I do definitely recommend a nice glossy top coat to help level everything out. But here's a look at that completed mani. I had just 2 coats before, glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. And then finally, this is my swatch photo at an angle in that same direct sunlight. So next up is Can't Dull Our Sparkle, and this is coming from La Polish. This is described as a medium purple with teal shimmer, turquoise hollow micro glitter, and iridescent glitters. So this is just a magical mix. I love how those teal glitters bounce off the purple base. Super pretty, and this is exactly what it looks like on the nail as well. I'll go ahead and show you a quick brush shot, and then I'll show you how Cancer Can't Dull Our Sparkle swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This formula is a little bit on the thicker side. I definitely do prefer it like that. It goes exactly where you put it. It did make for a nice blush of color, but I did have some nail lines still kicking, so I'll let that dry and then show you how it builds up for me with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I'm just going in for a nice normal second coat here, and it did bring this one completely opaque. Again, I do recommend a nice glossy top coat with this one. It did tend to dry down maybe a little bit dull. A good glossy top coat is going to help bring out all of those teal glitters. So here's a look at that completed mani at just 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath the artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. You can see some of those larger glitters in there as well. This is my final swatch photo at an angle in direct sunlight. So the last polish I have for you today is Listen to Your Body, and this is coming from Pretty Beautiful Unlimited. This is described as a black jelly with tons of glitter in purple, lavender, black, white, teal, navy, silver, turquoise, in various sizes. It also has a smattering of cyan to purple, chameleon pigment, as well as purple to blue to green crystal flaky. So this one is completely full of glitter, and I love it. There's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Listen to Your Body swatched on my natural nail. This is definitely a black jelly base, so it does start out a little bit sheer. I also had to be just a little bit mindful of where I was placing those glitters and making sure I wasn't brushing too hard. It tended to kind of brush all the glitters off the nail. So there's a look at that first coat. It was a little bit sheer. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it builds up for me with a second coat. I am going in for a careful, thick second coat here, just being, again, a little bit mindful of how those larger glitters are applying and where they're going. But 2 coats brought this one completely opaque. If you do prefer thinner coats, you may need to go in for 3, but I really like the depth here. It's a ton of really cool glitters on the nail. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. This one does lay down fairly flush, but I do recommend a nice glossy top coat to help seal everything in. So here's a look from a different angle with a glossy top coat in direct sunlight, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same direct sunlight. So that does wrap up my swatch and review for the September 2017 monthly awareness polish box. I will link all the groups down below. The Facebook group is a great place to join up to see swatches from all of the other amazing bloggers. If you're interested in seeing more photos of these, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com, or you can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.